Are you listening to me? You're both of you nuts.
Why do this? Why not do it?
You could ask yourself a question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? You have the luxury of not knowing what I know. It's that simple.
And people
Ears
are
up, ears up.
to be recreationally outraged at.
Are we clear? Are we clear?
Who said that? Nobody, huh? Ah! That's the war face. Now let me see your war face. Ah!
I've got too much juice left.
Okay, so as I'm going around to like the grocery store, and I'm not supposed to do it every day. I'm trying to do it like at least maybe 2 times a week, but it's a little impossible because every time I get something, then I want to get something else. Whether it's like, the almond milk drink that everyone has like gotten and they don't leave behind, or if it's like something like crackers. Like there's like no saltines. I don't know where to get saltines, man. But here's the thing, man. I'm walking around. Everyone's wearing a mask, so I'm like, I'm not going to wear a mask because you know.
Really? They're wearing masks, huh?
Yeah, everyone is wearing a mask. I'm not going to wear a mask.
Everyone?
I'm not.
I will.
Everyone. Everyone.
Like, not just Asians. Everyone.
Everyone. I will take a video next time.
Oh my gosh, what's going on? They're all sick?
Yeah, actually, when it first started, like when I'd go to an Asian supermarket, it'd be everybody but the Asians who were wearing a mask.
Oh, now it's all the Asians.
No, now it's all the Asians.
Now it's all the Asians, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the other people, I was like, well, they're taking it seriously.
You're sick too? Oh, you're sick too? Stay away.
You sick? No.
You're like, sick.
Maybe
sick.
they do it on purpose because they know if they wear it, people will be like, 6 feet. 6 feet.
I feel like I should like offer them, hey, you want some hot tea? I'd be like, something like that. Anyway, so I'm wearing gloves. The only thing that I wear is gloves, right?
Like what kind of gloves?
I hope you wear clothes too.
No, I wear clothes, but it's just gloves.
That's very sorry. No, I'm going to try to erase that image out of my head.
Come on, you want me to stand up? I mean,
No!
Yeah, please
I can
sit down.
stand up right now.
Please sit down. Please sit down.
No, but so check it out. So I'm wearing gloves, and I also carry a Clorox wipe.
Yes.
All right, with me.
We've done that.
Like one wipe.
Just one wipe.
Just one wipe. Okay.
Just one wipe, and
Okay.
I carry it. I just hold it.
Yeah.
And so I have a picking hand, and that hand also places the item in the cart, and that hand also.
Sorry. I was like, "What are you picking?" I'm like, "Oh, you're picking."
Oh, I'm picking up stuff, like
Picking.
I don't know, ice cream, right? So here's
in your eye.
So here's the thing: you're not supposed to touch your eyes, right? But I swear, every time I put the gloves on, dude, my eyes start to get itchy for some reason. Yeah,
because there's a nerve that runs from your hand to your eye.
Is there?
Is it really?
No, I'm just making that up, dude.
But I don't get it. It's like you're not supposed to touch your hair, your head, your face, and I'm like, why am I all of a sudden trying to touch my eye? And it sucks. So what I do is I kind of use like if I have a glove on, the glove only comes up to here, and I'm kind of like, and then I got to push my glasses up like this, and I'm doing this. And then I put my glasses on, and I want to touch it, but wait, I can't touch it. So now I got to do this and place it on correctly. And I always wear a visor when I get out, or a hat or something. So it kind of makes it a little difficult. And then when I have to put my hat back on. So it really sucks. I mean, I don't know what you guys are doing, but you guys wear gloves when you go out?
No.
No gloves?
No, dude.
Really?
No, because then you're getting stuff on your gloves. And then
that's what the wipe is for, dude.
But you can't eliminate things completely. It's easier to wash your hands than it is to wash gloves.
So I also have the little bottle of that hand sanitizer stuff, and I put those on the gloves. So it's like you have your hands, but you put on the gloves.
Wait, so are you putting hand sanitizer on your gloves?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But
they do that at Trader Joe's.
Because they don't want to reuse. They don't want to take another glove out, so they just.
No. It's for everyone. It's for they at Trader Joe's. They put hand sanitizer on your hands, or if you have gloves on, they'll put on your gloves. before you walk in. You can't walk in without it.
Interesting.
You guys haven't been out lately.
No, I saw it, but I just don't care to wear gloves because really I wash my hands before I leave. Now that we're in this state of we really can't go anywhere. If I have to go to the grocery store, I leave with semi-clean hands. I take everything, put it in my bag. We go to checkout, we go home. Then I will here's the dilemma. Okay, I'll come home and I'll put everything away. Then I'll wash my hands. But should I wash my hands and then put everything away? Because in my mind, everything's dirty.
You should actually do both. You should wash your hands when you come in, put stuff away, and wash your hands again.
I should, right? That's the thing. I gotta wash my hands twice. My hands are so chapped and dry. Lotion to the rescue.
So that's why I use gloves.
So you don't have to wash your hands?
So no, I do wash my hands. I just put the gloves on because it's just another layer.
What kind of gloves are you wearing?
It's those you could pop pimples with those gloves. No, it's those gloves that you get from Costco. They're like surgical gloves.
Oh, so okay. So they're rubber gloves.
No, man, I got isotoners on, dude. Come on, man. No, dude. No, it's like the surgical gloves that are like food grade and
The ones from Costco.
no powder. Yeah, it's just something.
Yeah,
like
the nitrile gloves.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Whatever that means.
And it's cool because these gloves are cool because you could actually touch your phone. So I try not to touch my phone though.
But I don't understand. You mean you can actually work your phone with it?
Yeah, you could actually.
Okay.
You
Because
could
you
actually.
can touch your phone.
You can manipulate your phone.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So when I get all the items before they enter the trunk of my car, I'm actually wiping them down with wipes. I'm wiping everything like that.
You're
The
very
ramen packages, all the creases, and then after that, I actually wipe the inside of the bags.
spend a lot of time then. Just
Yeah, dude, it's like an extra 15 minutes, dude.
yeah, I ain't got time
And
for
then-
that, man.
Wait, and so I keep my gloves on, but then I put more sanitizer on my gloves, and then I drive my car with the gloves on. When I get out, I can actually bring everything into the house, and I don't have to wipe it down or spray it or anything.
You mean wipe your steering wheel?
Oh.
I mean, I do afterwards. I do. So, and then what I do is, that's where I take off the gloves, wash my hands, and then I take everything back out of the bag, and then I put it away.
Well, I applaud you.
So the only thing that I don't, so the only vegetables I buy are the ones that are packaged.
Say it again?
Like the only, if you're getting like that bok choy or broccoli,
Oh.
they in the Asian markets, most of them, you can actually, they're actually bagged for you.
Yeah.
So, the only way to trust that if we're handling is, you just soak it in water or something. I don't know, like properly rinse it.
I know.
So that's what I'm
Can't
doing.
do anything raw with those buddies.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's too much. And yeah, it's a lot of time, dude. I'm standing outside my trunk and people are just looking at me. And so I am a little crazy.
You should film yourself doing that.
I think I will. I'll mount the GoPro on the cart.
I'm just trying to imagine you like wiping everything down before putting it into the trunk.
Yeah, I do.
Wow, that's
It's a lot.
See, I don't like to spend any amount of time in the parking lot with my trunk open. For a girl with my size, it just isn't a good thing for someone like me.
Yeah.
So I don't like to sit in a parked car if I don't have to. You know what I mean? So I get it. It works for you. Big guy.
Where are you from? Compton or something? What? Are you like in the hood? What are you?
No, but
Crenshaw?
you know what? just knowing what I know, I'm not 20 anymore. When I was 20, I was invincible. I'm 43. You throw me down and I'm brittle. I'll break.
Wait, are you sure you're 43?
I could be 44.
Wait, or you're going to be 44?
I'm
It
not-
doesn't
I'm
matter,
not
dude.
sure
If you
I'm
forget,
44.
that's.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
then
now.
you're ageless.
Doesn't matter.
now.
If you forget, I'm not even counting anymore, dude. I'm not
I
counting.
don't know. At some point, I just kind of throw out random numbers that's like around the vicinity of.
Oh,
And
really?
even now, I'm like, our birthdays are coming up, so I'm kind of like, I don't know how old I am.
I just give the year I'm born,
Oh.
and I let them count, and then I
It's a serial
calculate like,
number.
yeah, I'm like 7,634 months old. You know, I'm counting in months because you're giving your baby in months. Oh, your baby is how old? Oh, 63 months. I don't even know what that is anymore. You know, it's
I
like
don't know what that is.
I don't know why they do that. 22 months I can probably count, but yeah, it's just crazy. So anyway, yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, Muzz. I'm gonna film myself, but I don't know where to put that. That people might just
Because you have to wipe the camera down too.
wipe the camera down. Like, is this too much, man? It's so
That's
fun.
interesting. You should do it,
You know,
but
and
it
we
takes
had
time. But
we
you're
had a
doing
con-
it anyway.
we had a
Please.
conversation. But we had a conversation, you know, about like washing hands and stuff, and it's so funny because like, you know, now I see like men in the men's bathroom washing their hands.
Whereas before, it was like non-existent.
But yeah, before it's like, you know, that if you're in a bathroom alone, right? Or at least if someone walks into the bathroom and then they start using the urinal, you know you're not gonna wash your hands. You're just gonna pretend you wash your hands. You just flip on the faucet,
I don't understand that.
turn it off, and then walk out.
Dude,
You
that's
know, like
gross.
if there's nobody in
I
there, you're
just
not gonna
don't
wash your
understand
hands.
that. You just whip it out, you do your thing, you whip it back in, and you don't wash your hands.
Yeah, because guys are gonna say it's as clean as like my elbow. Yeah,
Ah!
my elbow don't touch nothing.
You don't know where your elbow's been.
You don't touch nothing, right?
If you don't extend it, I mean, if you leave it hanging, ball sack.
There it is.
Sorry.
There it is. But it's not like you're gonna use it for anything else. You're just using the bathroom. Anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think it's disturbing when people do that like after a dump, and you're like that is
That's disturbing. Thank
that
you.
is
After a
That's
dump.
exactly.
After a
Right.
dump. Well, sometimes you just want to get out of there, right? I mean, you know.
Because you
Yeah.
can't stand the smell of your own stench. Yeah.
there's something beautifully metaphoric about that.
But what is it?
Yeah, what is I'm trying to find. I can't register that.
It's like that smell is like our inner essence that we can't stand ourselves.
Oh,
Ah, so.
okay.
Sometimes you admit it, you like the smell.
Don't. Hey Joey, I'm not no judgment, Joey, but yeah.
I smell good today. Yeah.
What did I eat 2 days ago?
You're like pineapple.
That
Pineapples.
that beef brisket went out pretty good.
Oh,
You know, I'm all
Lord.
healthy today. Yeah, with that barbecue sauce. Anyway, hey, the reason why we're here today is because, you know, I contacted Muzz and I was like, hey, you know, I want you to get on our podcast just, you know, for the kicks of it. And I think it's been like a year, you know.
Oh,
And
a
it's
year
funny-
ago you asked him to do this? What
Probably
happened?
about a little more than a year ago, and it only happened in like conversation when I was driving him to the airport. So
Well,
I
now we
drove to
got
the
plenty of
airport.
time on our hands, huh?
What are the 10 times that happened last year?
I know, and so you know, it's like, you know, all the suggestions that you told me on like how to run a podcast. You know, I think you know, it's been fail. It's been hit or miss.
What? Do you run a podcast, Muzz?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I just
to hear.
give advice on things that I don't do myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's who I want to be.
Right.
I want to get paid for giving advice on things that I don't do. But anyway, you told me, you know, to watch out for, you know, don't concentrate so much on the technology and all the gadgets and all the stuff, but just make sure that you have the content, because content's going to carry, you know. But of course, you know, I have to go through my own phase and like, yeah, I need this, I need that. And it would be cool if I had that. And the funny thing is, all that gear that I have, I could still use. I haven't used in a while. I just resorted to using Zoom
Because it's easy.
because I don't have to go to your place. We don't have to go to my place. We don't have to go anywhere. You know, we could just do this wherever you are.
It's true.
And I think, I think that's the way to go. Now, it may not sound as clear, it may not sound like that great, but yeah, at least it's something.
And MP3s don't sound as good as records. So.
Right. MP3s don't sound as good as records. But anyway, there's a question that I did kind of want to talk about, and I kind of wanted you involved on this. And basically, it's kind of, in your professional work experience and all the teams that you've, were a part of and led, and also, have been a follower. All the projects that you do. By the way, all the projects you include me on is awesome. Everything that you've done. But I've learned a lot, and it's just something that it never came across to actually asking you. But now I'm asking you, and we're actually recording it. But the question is, how do you get others to do what you want them to do without trying to be manipulative?
Witchcraft.
Is that how you do it? You go behind the room.
This.
I'm gonna tell them to clean their boots.
I'm gonna have them wipe everything down before they put it in the trunk.
But what's the trick? I mean, I can get. Do you want me to give you a scenario? Or do you want to just?
Yeah. Go into a scenario.
Okay. How about let's say you have like a boss, and the boss is younger than you, like much younger than you. And they give you some kind of instruction or task that your team needs to do. And it's your job to get the whole team to do it and to get the job done to their specification. But you know that what the task is, it's kind of, what? You're asking us to do something like this? How do you gather your team up and actually have them do what you need them to do?
Yeah. So let's dig into that. Like, if in this scenario, can you ask your boss questions, or are you hermetically sealed? Let's just say you're kind of like on unknown territory with your boss, and you're trying to figure that out. So it'd probably be good to ask, or you could ask why. Mm-hmm. You could ask why, mm-hmm. But I don't think it would be a situation where you could actually say, no, we're not going to do it unless you give me a good reason. Right. Yeah, that I've never seen that strategy work. Right, that totally doesn't work. So how do you rile your team? I mean, how do you get them to, follow to execute like a task? And we all know it's like, what is it? Yeah. I think it starts with understanding the why. Because if you yourself don't understand, if you get something from your boss and you're like, what? Like, why are we doing this? It's like, this is stupid. You want a real example? You want a real life? Yeah. Here's a real life example. Let's make it real.
You have a team of 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
You're the team leader. Mm-hmm. But of course you have a boss. Because your team has made some mistakes in the past, your boss wants you to go through an entire spreadsheet, and they want you to remove all the duplicates and leading zeros and typos manually.
Why?
Instead of writing a little, just coding it up and then
right.
Yeah, but the instruction is to have your team do it, and so you have to divide the sheet up, and so that they can all do it at the same pace, and then you can get it done in like 2 weeks.
And you're not kidding. This is real.
Yeah, this was a real situation that happened to me.
Oh my god. I think that's when you need to quit.
But you know the why, right?
So as for the why part, your boss doesn't really tell you directly, but they tell you indirectly, because in past like tasks that involve spreadsheets, they have made some serious mistakes. And they kind of submitted it without even double checking. It was like a little careless. Mm-hmm. But you know that your team is capable, and maybe it was a bad day. Maybe it was just like a bad time for that or those employees that actually did those mistakes. I mean, those mistakes happen. Excel mistakes happen when they're manual. And so what happened was my boss asked me that we had to go through this manually, where I could have just ran something, you know, and it would have corrected itself in like a minute or less. Yeah, like how do you get your employees to actually do what you need for them to do?
Yeah, I think yeah, that's a great example because it's a tough example.
Because you know they're going to say it's stupid, right?
Well,
they're all going to respond that way.
It is stupid.
It's stupid.
I wonder if there's a way where you could get everybody on the same page as far as getting it right, while not. This sounds a little unethical, but like not telling your boss that you're not literally going through it, but that you instead spend the time like writing a macro and then having people do quality checks on it like afterwards. Because that's just insane. Like to go through how many cells are we talking about? Is this like a big spreadsheet, small spreadsheet?
Oh, you're talking about a huge spreadsheet. I mean, you're talking about collection of every asset in the company, and this company is huge. I mean, you're talking about let's just say this. How about every delivery package at UPS in one 24-hour period that enters the system? That's probably how many cells or how many rows are in there.
So what you're saying, Muzz, is that you would actually not follow the exact orders because you care about your team and you know that this is a ridiculous thing, a ridiculous task that they've been given. And so what you would do to rally the troops is to say, okay, you take care of this part, you take care of this part, you take care of this part, and do what you need to do to get it done quickly, efficiently, but most importantly, accurately.
Yeah, I think it's something like where you're trying to rally people around the result.
Mm-hmm.
And cool. But then the other thing that you need to do is make yourself and your team accountable for that result. So you could say something like, you know, screw this, we're not going through this manually. But what we are going to do is, if we don't get this right, you know, we're all going to put $50 into a bucket, or, you know, whatever the thing is that you can get people to agree to. But if people don't agree to be accountable for the result, then you're probably going to have problems.
Like, definitely with the boss, right?
Yeah.
And then also kind of, you know, it creates tension between the boss and also the team members.
Yeah. Because I think you have to dig into the why of the boss a little bit more, because I think it's not, there could be different things that are behind that. It could be that, because the way it comes off to me on the surface is it almost comes up as punitive. It's kind of like, you guys are messing up, so you're going to scrub every single inch of the floor and blah, blah. And I see a speck of dust, then there's going to be
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is like how to reframe the way you get the job done to reduce the error rate, but not make it the new norm of like, I mean, because the worst thing that could happen, I think, is that you'd actually succeed, that you go through it manually and it works. And then your boss is like, we should do this every time. And then that's not going to be a sustainable situation either.
So I think one of the reasons that was explained to me later by the boss was, I think the boss wanted to see who was the laziest and who was the weakest link, so we could get rid of them. You know, like who wanted to put out to actually do the work, and who wanted to correct their mistakes, so that we can move forward. And then those who actually refused, well, they're not going to deal with me. You know, they're going to deal with the boss. And I think that was what was happening.
I don't know. I don't know the full context of it, but I think that's not a very good test.
It's not. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. But you know, and you know, there was a thing where like me and this boss didn't get along. and I think partly was because of maybe egos, you know, my ego, the boss's ego, them being 22 years old. You know what I mean? So they're coming like right out of college, and then all of a sudden I'm like, why you get placed at this position, and everyone over here is like everyone is like over, except for me, but everyone was like over 40. You know, and I was. It's so funny because I got placed as a lead, you know, and I think I was about what 36 at the time, and I got so I'm a little like closer to them in age, so I'm kind of like, okay, I'm a little closer to you in age. We're in the same generation, but this 22-year-old's not in the same generation as us, you know. So I mean, what do you? So let me just let me ask you another question. Like, how do you improve that relationship when you already know that there's already like an ego tension between you and that boss?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying sometimes it can't be done. So I wouldn't assume that it's something that can be fixed. But what I would start with is to say, are there ways that you can show your boss that you care about them succeeding? Like, so, because if they think you're trying to undermine them constantly, you just get into the cycle of trying to undermine each other. And then, but if you show that, like, I genuinely do want you to succeed as well, then that will often kind of loosen things up. It takes some time to build that trust. But I think if you've been in a cycle of trying to undermine each other, you'll have to kind of demo it in some kind of way. And then people will be like, oh, maybe this person isn't as bad as I thought they were. Or maybe this person isn't trying to screw me over all the time.
I totally agree with that statement. Because I'm currently in a situation where it's a 2-person team, and then we brought another person into the mix, and she's relatively younger than us. She's probably in her mid-20s or maybe late 20s, and my partner and I, she's in her 60s, and we've been working at it together, and we go together like peanut butter and jelly, just because we've been able to, you know, it's just a good relationship. And she's coming up with all these wonderful ideas, and you know, they're great ideas, and I'm going, holy moly, I need to step up the learning curve. And at one point I was just like, what do I do? I honestly thought, man, I am not cut out for this, because this is for social media now, right? In social media, you have to be fast, you have to be on the cutting edge. I'm thinking to myself, this girl should be doing my job. And at the same time I'm going, but look, you're in the position that you're in now. Either you take your humble pie and appreciate her for all the wonderful ideas that she's throwing at you, and go, well, I don't know how to do that. Do you think you can help me out here? Or you can say, screw this. I can't do this, and just have a terrible attitude about it. Well, I just kind of went, okay, I need her help. I need her on the team. This is bigger than me. I need to represent our company well. So, yeah, I let her know from the get-go, I appreciate your ideas. How do we execute this together?
Yeah, well, no, that's good.
It was hard. It sounds hard. Easy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you the way I handled mine and my situation, which I don't even know. Am I allowed to talk about it? I guess I am.
So, sure you are,
Roy.
A gag order? Let's hear about it, Roy.
So the way I handled it, well, first of all, I was like really angry. First of all, I'll answer the second question, because you know, I kind of looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this 22-year-old is telling, you know, has like, you know, I guess I was just offended because I was like, why are they 22? Why couldn't we get someone who's more experienced? But, you know, one thing that I had to like keep in mind was, you know, I knew some of, you know, my uncles that, you know, that are also in the military, and they would explain their stories of how they had to answer to very young lieutenants, you know, that are the same age, 24, you know, and they're already like, you know, like high-ranking sergeants. And I think, so what I did try, and it actually, it was hard to make it work, but in the end it actually did work. And the thing is I kept on trying to keep in mind that even though there's tension, I got to do something to build a bridge. And I always thought like, well, am I going to come off fake? Because, some people, you might come off fake and say, you talk all this crap, to like, offline to your team members, and you're like, dude, this boss sucks, right? And then as soon as the boss comes in, hey, sir, how you doing? Like, what can I do for you, right? You come off as fake. And that's the thing that I was personally struggling with. But how I saw it afterwards was kind of like, well, I got to build this bridge, and I got to do it because I got to accomplish, the task. So it was kind of like a trade-off. Like, I didn't see it as me being fake anymore. I just actually had to do the job, and I had to do whatever it takes to get it done. So that took a while. That took about maybe like a 3-month period, where I was trying to build a bridge, trying to understand them, trying to give them benefit of the doubt, where it's like, what should I, perhaps there's something they know that I don't know, and I'm going to try to learn from it, but I'm going to try to accomplish the task. Now, explaining it to the guys and explaining to the team that, they were older than me. So I'm pretty sure some of them felt the same way. A lot of them were in the age range of 46 to 48. And coming from a 36-year-old, they're like, well, he does, there's experience there, but just not as old as me. And, I kind of felt that tension, but as soon as I started to build bridges with them, which was easier to build a bridge, I did explain to the guys, that, hey, this is just something we got to get done. And, this is what we're tasked with. And we're going to get it done. And we're going to show that, we can do this, and we're going to do it correctly. Because if we don't, then start looking for another team. And a lot of the older guys, they actually, and girls, they actually resonated with that. Because I think that's something familiar that they heard. Because that's something that, my dad or my coach would say when I was in high school. They'd be like, you're going to get it done. You're going to do it. You're going to do it correctly. And if you don't, you might as well go find another team. Or you get off the team. And I think that worked with the older generation, or the older part of our generation. I think it worked with them. Also, another thing, especially for, building that bridge is so to this day, we're not friends. We didn't become friends. I don't really respect them. I still don't respect them. And I still think that person's still a loser. But I got the job done. The team was still together, and that person moved on to another team to go run and terrorize. And so, I mean, I don't know. That was my approach. I don't know if that's the right approach or the correct approach, but that's what I used in this situation. It seemed to work well.
I think I want to highlight one thing from what you said, which I think that's a great example where you basically said to your team, you have a choice whether or not you want to be here. Like, and if you're like, this is like 100% bullshit, then life's short. Don't waste your life and move on. So I think getting people into a mindset that they're making a choice to be there was a really good thing in what you did.
Yeah. And that was all the advice from my older relatives. I guess because they were trying to talk to me, and I think they're trying to tell me how to talk to them because they're at the same age. My uncles and the team that I was in that I was helping lead. And so I guess that's what they wanted to hear. But man, I can't imagine. Right? I mean, I don't know how you would talk to like a bunch of 20-year-olds now, because their attitude is they don't really listen, or they'll listen, they'll fake listen, and then they just go behind your back and do something else.
Well, I'm around them all the time. I because I teach. So.
So how do you? Okay, so that's talking to like one kind of like age group. How do you talk to the younger age group? The younger professional.
I think.
And Joy, you gave us a perfect example, like that you're dealing with like a younger, right?
Yeah.
A younger person.
So, and she's not malicious at all. I mean, it's just a matter of dealing with my own insecurities, right? And identifying it, acknowledging it, and saying, okay, I gotta move forward because we have a job to get done.
You mean
So,
not once in your brain that you didn't go into your head and be like, she thinks she cute. You know, you never once said
no,
that.
no. I think in the end, she's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they just have so many ideas, and they're bursting, and they just need to let it all out. It's kind of like my kids. I have children, right? And they're like, Mom, and they just kind of vomit all over you. They just can't. There's a time and a place, but they just, in that moment, they just have to let it out. And I just figure, okay, let's harness that and use it and steer you in the direction that we need you so that we can be in a productive team. So that's where I'm at right now.
Is
But
that
you're
the end
right.
of the younger crowd, Muzz?
Yeah, I think acknowledging people is really important, and that there's and kind of like Joy, what you said about like kind of listening to yourself and how you're reacting, where sometimes I'll say like I'm getting really annoyed by what this person is saying, and I'll think to myself, oh, why am I getting annoyed? Like, what is it about it? And I'm like, oh, the reason why I'm annoyed is this, because I think that they're not doing this, but instead of reacting kind of suddenly to them, I'm gonna engage them and ask them and kind of learn more and be curious.
Mm.
I have a lot of conversations in my own head, like when I'm talking to people, and trying to I'm trying to process my own reactions. So you want to keep it real. You don't want to turn into a robot about it. But I think it's really important to become kind of self-aware in real time, where you're able to process your own reactions and kind of temper things appropriately, so that what you're saying to them is something that is a message that they can hear, that they can listen to, and it's not just something that will make them tune out.
That's interesting. I'm always telling my boys, you communicate not so that the other person can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'm always, well, I shouldn't say always, I'm trying to make sure that when I'm talking to my children, because a lot of times they're all three different personalities, and the hotheaded one will not hear me until I chill, I love you, right? So I have to understand, in order for me to communicate well with them, I need to make sure that they're hearing what needs to be heard in a way that they can understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's kind of like tilling the soil.
Tilling the soil, and having them know that you care.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a different example, like with like if it's with your kids, but even with somebody who you're not going to be best friends with, somebody who you honestly will probably still kind of hate at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something about showing that you care about something within them that's important. Otherwise, because if you literally don't care about anything, like zero,
Right.
it's going to be, you might as well stop talking to them, because it's just going to end badly.
How about like if you want to get them to care about it, what about if there's a task that needs to be done? What if you kind of let them come up with a solution?
You can't
So that they get involved.
I know this sounds like I'm parsing language here, but I don't believe you can get people to care. I think what you can do is find what people do care about and then link that to your thing.
Is there a way to get them to come up with the process to actually how to go about a task, and then you let them come up with a plan, and you let them own the plan? Of course, you're the person who kind of has to call like what's good and what's bad, and it kind of, and I don't mean to go off into a tangent, but it kind of gets into the whole point about listening, because something that I've learned, and I'm still trying to practice, is like if you're in charge of a team, and I think listening is like totally the key to hear them out. And when you listen, it's not going to be like, it's not going to be like the whole like, I'm going to listen to you 90% of the time, but I'm going to shut you down with my 10%. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And so I think as long as like listening will not include shutting them down, with your 10%, but also letting them come up with, letting your team come up with, how should we go about this? How should we do it? Let's decide on what's the best way to go about this task. And then as soon as you kind of authorize it, you bless it, that becomes theirs, and then they own it. And then I think that could be a way to get them to care. I don't know if you've ever tried something like that.
If you have the time to have a brainstorming session, yeah, go for it. I think it's a great idea. Unfortunately, if we're talking about in the professional work, we'll just think corporations, they just need to get things done. And usually it's top down. And then again, it depends on the different department that you work in. But my husband works in IT, and it's usually like, this needs to get done now. And they're like, wait a minute. I'm working on all these other tickets, but this needs to get done now.
Yeah, but he has to give the instruction, right? He has to clear the instruction with his team on what's done, right?
He just tells them this needs to get done now because it's coming from top down.
But isn't there like further instruction that he would need to like, okay, but in this area you got to do this, and in this area you got to do this. So instead of saying that, what if he rephrased that to like, well, hey, this needs to get done. How do you want to go about it? What do you think is the best way so you don't have to stay late, or you don't have to work on the weekends, or I don't have to work on the weekends? What do you think is the best way? I mean, would that be
in a perfect world, that would be a great way to segue into
if you have the time, right?
If you have the time.
But there should be enough time for that, right? I mean, I don't usually take like take on a task from a boss and be like, okay, let me work through lunch to this. No, I'm going to go out to lunch first.
Oh,
and then I'm going to go out.
Not when you work for, I think when you work for a financial institution and you have a VP breathing down your neck, or a VP breathing down your boss's neck, or even a VP breathing down your boss's neck. Oh, you better believe they just want the result, bottom line, by end of day, if not sooner.
I've been there. I've had that type.
Yeah.
I've had that type of boss. I know. I've had that, but really, it's like I don't know. Sometimes I guess in that if it's like a real fast paced thing, and you're like tied to time, but there has to be some kind of wiggle room where you kind of get your team in place and like, look, we only got like 2 minutes to talk about this. How do you want to go about this? I mean, there has to be some kind of time. I mean, it's not like you're gonna say no, you can't go to the bathroom. You're going to listen to what I'm going to tell you, right?
Well,
I mean, there has to
really
be some
think
little time.
This is why I'm a huge believer in team building, giving co-workers the opportunity to get together outside. I mean, I don't know how to put this, but yeah, team building activities. We'll just leave it at that, where they all go and have lunch together. They all go and go bowling together, sanctioned by the workplace. Like, oh, this is actually organized. Everything's out there. They're going to be out of the office and they're going to do this as a team. I think that's where a lot of the, I don't want to call it magic, but collaborative ideas can begin, because you're going to naturally divert your conversation toward work. Hey, what do you think of blah, 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 blah. And they'll have one person go, I don't want to talk about that. And another person will be like, well, I think such and such and such, or we can do 1, 2, 3. So, and like what Muzz was saying, you need to know each other. So as much as you need to know your boss, you need to know your team. And if you know how your team thinks, if you know how what makes one person tick, and maybe this other person ticks a different way, maybe they can work together, maybe they can't. But if you know those different nuances and personalities about your team, then you're going to be better able to mobilize them toward the end product that you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I think it's always to further build on that. I think it's thinking of things in terms of people's intrinsic motivation rather than like an extrinsic, like rewards and punishments.
That's good.
And so if what the psychological research, there has this thing called I think it's like self-determination theory. And there's sort of three kind of core psychological needs that underlie it. One is relatedness, so being in relationship with other people, like having that kind of social connection, which is what Joy was just talking about. Another thing is having autonomy, having some control over their choices. If somebody is just constantly, they have zero control and they like everything is specified for them and they have no choice in the matter, eventually they're going to burn out. And then the third thing is this idea of competence, or mastery, which is this idea of experiencing progression and growth. So if you can kind of think of those three things and think about like, how do I help kind of grow those things for my team, then they'll become more internally motivated rather than having to respond to like somebody else kind of cracking the whip or doing things, which I think is, there's a time and place for those things, but those are extrinsic motivation is very short term. And eventually people just resent it and will check out.
And they burn out.
Right. Even if they're trying their best, it's psychologically, it's not good for you.
Something I learned, especially in customer service, and I used to do customer service, you should only do customer service for like 1 year, because if you try to do more than 1 year,
but I think it's good to do it though. I think doing customer service and doing sales, like you learn so much from. I think everybody should be required to do that at some point.
Definitely, everyone should go through it for 1 year, but don't do it for more than that.
Would that include like working in a restaurant, being a busboy, being a waitress or a server? Or no, that's something totally different.
Definitely being if you're a waiter or waitress, that definitely counts.
Yeah, it would count, right? Yeah. Because you gotta eat your humble pie and do what the customer says.
You have direct customer interaction versus like if you're a busboy, then it's a little less clear about that.
Makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little different. But I just think 1 year should be like the requirement for everyone. Just to go through it and learn how to deal with people. I I did.
I did 2 years of sales in a startup, and it was, I remember when at first I was like, oh man, I'm going to hate doing this, but I learned so much from that experience.
Yeah. I dealt with equine customers, and those are the worst customers than regular human customers. Man, you deal with someone who owns a horse, and man, they treat their horse better than they do their own kids.
I believe it.
They have a lot of money riding on their horses too, whether it's a show horse, a work horse, or a race horse. Equine customers are just like on a whole other level. I mean, I once had this customer like saying, "Yo, I want this fix and I want this fix." I go, "Well, you know what? It will cost this much." And then the whole response was like, "Well, our group, our company, we have more money than God." I'm just like, okay, how much is that? I started looking up like, dude, you have to be in the billions, right? And it's funny because like at the end of the transaction, they wrote a fat check, and because we charged them a lot, we didn't give them any discount. They wrote a check, and it cleared, and I was like, wow, they got money.
That's amazing.
But they get to treat you like crap anyway. But hey, here's a thing. Here's I want to share with you guys. This is about referees, and they kind of have that job. It's not necessarily customer service, but it's kind of related to it. But you gotta check this out, man. It's funny. Check out that runner, right? Yeah. Check out this ref, dude. He's running faster than the runner, dude.
Hilarious.
That's amazing.
Here you go. This is NFL. He's running with a receiver, dude.
And that's one of the fastest players in the NFL.
Yeah, Jackson. Oh, yeah. Look at this. Look at this ref, dude.
That's amazing.
Man, because he has to be though.
He
right?
ran with him, dude. That move that's a killer move right there. With the whole lean.
Yeah, Deshaun's got like almost like 4.2 speed.
Watch this. Look at this ref on the bottom of the screen.
Got it. Dang.
He got there first. He got to the end zone before the player did. Okay, last one.
They were at school already. Second semester of last year.
Dang, he's running faster than that guy.
It's hilarious. What's this video called?
It's called Fast Referees in Football.
Okay.
I mean, it goes on and on.
I
And
guess they have to be, right? I mean,
Most of them are not.
oh,
That's
wow.
unusual. That's unusual.
I'm really impressed. I was like, wow, these guys are in shape. Like really in shape. I don't know. I love it. Anyway, so hey,
Middle school referees.
I know. Baseball referees, they don't run, right? Baseball, they don't do it.
No.
They're just like, they stand there and they're like, you're out. Like you didn't even run to like second base, dude. How do you know that person's out?
Lord.
And so, but sometimes you see those referees like behind the plate. They actually run to first base. Some of the high school ones.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. But yeah, I'm gonna start paying attention to referees every time I see a game now. And I'm gonna see what's up. Anyway, hey, something that's coming up. And I'm not trying to get all political on this, but you hear about what the final count is on the stimulus check? How much is going to be?
Mm-mm.
Stimulus check that's supposed to be sent out. Supposed to be $1,200 per adult. Married couple will be $2,400. So you just double that.
What about kids?
And then each kid is supposed to be $500. Now that's
What? That's it?
$500. Yeah. So now it's only supposed to be if your salary as a married couple is, I think it should be $150,000 or less.
Mm-hmm.
If you're single, then it has to be 75 or less.
Okay.
So if you exceed that, then I think they just lessen the amount. I don't know what that amount is. I really don't.
Wow.
A lot of people are talking about, hey, where's this money going to come from? And I don't think it's true, but some news agencies were actually reporting that it's going to come out from your future tax return. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because the last time I got a stimulus check, I didn't get any decrease in my tax return.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that is. And so here's a question. So if you do get it, right? Kids or no kids, married or not, let's just call it the $1,200 check. A question that came up, and some of my friends on Facebook are talking about it. Are you going to cash it?
Yes.
Yes?
But why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
I think the reasoning that they were saying is one was it was kind of ignorant. One person was saying it's not enough.
So that's why they're not going to cash it?
I was like, well, you're not going to cash it because it's not enough.
Oh my Lord.
That's like coming across a $20 bill on the street and saying like, yeah.
That's right.
That's like giving a homeless person who's asking for food. You give them an apple and they're asking, "Yo, is this organic?" It's not gonna happen, dude. So, when he gets a check, I should actually put him on the podcast, man. I should ask him straight up. Then we can get some like real conflict, But anyway, yeah. So the question was, are you gonna cash? Yeah, like I have to cash it because, with all this hoarding of stuff. I had to stay ahead of that curve. Like I had to stay ahead and not behind it. So I actually, yes, I did stand in line. Yes, I did go to Costco at 5 a.m. once, and yes, I did go to stores 2 hours earlier before they actually opened so I could stand in line. And I did that because otherwise, if I tried to go now, I wouldn't have the stuff that I have. And I actually had to pull out some money that I in my mind I shouldn't have or don't have, which is called savings, right? And I had to pull it out. I had to do it, because I don't know like how long this thing is going to be. So anyway, I'm definitely going to cash it. And I hope there's more coming, but I really hope that I hope people realize it's a good thing that you should use it, not have like an attitude of like if it's organic or not. So you're definitely cashing it? Did you hear about it?
I'm gonna wipe it down first, and then...
Shut up, dude. What kind of gloves are you gonna use? Anyway, by cashing it, I think what they're going to do is they're going to go against the year before, how you got your refund from your taxes, and they're just going to deposit it. And then if you didn't want to deposit, then they mail you a check. So.
Oh.
And then there's
mail the check, and we're gonna use it on food.
Mail the
That's
check.
all I know.
I want the deposit, dude.
Well, it doesn't matter as long as we get it, and I can buy food. Then we are set.
Buy food. I'm just, you know what? I'm just gonna pay back the money that I used to buy the stuff. So I could flat it out. You know, as for the money for the kids, I'm like, oh, hey, you guys get oh, wait a minute, that's not your 500.
Yeah.
I was like, you've been using my toilet paper. That's the one that I've been using. That's my toilet paper. Those are my tissues. Those are my paper towels.
You just start charging per sheet.
Oh,
that'd be funny. Per sheet, and how much would that be?
I don't know, like a penny per sheet.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, thanks, Muzz, for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, we're just going to do our closing. And then, you're always full of wisdom. We're going to end right here.
It was great meeting you.
All right, I'm Roy.
And I'm Joy.
And Muzz.
And you're listening to Cins Radio.